Okay, so there's a question on am I alive, am I kidnapped, etc., etc. Okay, so this is the whole proof of life topic. So it's very, we saw that evolve, and it's both gratifying and a bit alarming. I'll explain why. So personally, and the rest of the team at WikiLeaks were very pleased that there was such an expression of concern about how we were doing. We expected all these attacks, and if you looked at my public statements and some of the statements tweeted by WikiLeaks in the lead up to my internet being cut off and to that difficult diplomatic situation, we were saying, you know, the attacks are going to come in, we're going to need people to defend us, we're going to basically need an army to get through this. And then the concern for how I was doing and why I wasn't being seen, etc., arose. So the answer to this proof of life question is that we're interested in something quite different. So anything that we did that claimed to be some kind of proof of life would be to set the precedent on what a reduction, what mechanism could be used to reduce concern. So the calls, for example, that I issue a PGP signed message. Okay, well, it's fine if you can understand that it's me who's issuing the PGP signed message, but a PGP signed message doesn't tell you who has issued it at all. It's just a claim message. So let's look at what kind of precedent we would be setting. We'd be setting the precedent that when there's a concern about whether one of our staff has been kidnapped, or me, that concern can be alleviated simply with the issuing of a message of text, which is coupled to a particular cryptographic key. Now, if WikiLeaks is under serious threat, then it's quite possible it might lose control over its keys. And the reality is it's quite hard to protect keys from that kind of interference. The way WikiLeaks manages its keys is to its submission keys, for example, they are not used to sign messages. But even if they did sign a message in this case, what would it be saying? It'd be setting a precedent that could be very dangerous in the future. You don't have to, if you like, produce the person and show that they're not under duress. You can either hack a WikiLeaks key or take control of infrastructure or take control of a person and then have them, or rather claim that they had produced some signed message. So we're much more interested in creating a precedent for proof of life, creating a precedent for proof of freedom from duress, or making it hard for our people to be under duress. And the best way to do that is live video. Because even if you were under duress, and there's various forms of duress that could be applied, if it's live, you've got a few seconds to put things out. You can slip in code words into what you're saying. I'm not, by the way. I'm not, but you could slip in code words into what you're saying that people, your people, could then see. Yes, I'm alive and free from duress, but I am in a very difficult situation. I have been for 6 years. Let's not think that I'm not in a difficult situation. As I explained, this embassy is surrounded by a high-tech police operation, intelligence operation. It's a really difficult situation. Haven't seen the sunlight in 4.5 years. It's a tough situation. I'm tough, but you know, you should be concerned about the situation. And what we had hoped is that those people concerned with my safety would direct their attention to those people who are responsible for the situation. That's the UK government, the US government, and the Ecuadorian government. Now, some of you did, and that's quite possibly why the internet was put back on, because of that expression of concern. But when the concern became very prominent, the result was a black PR campaign tried to infest the concern and take it off somewhere else, and largely succeeded. That was very interesting to watch and play out. What happened? Fabricated messages claiming to be from our staff were posted on 4chan, on Reddit, etc., on videos claiming to be from Anonymous. Completely fabricated. Dozens of them. And what was their intent? What were they calling for? They were calling for people to not trust WikiLeaks, to not give it leaks, and to not give it funds. I mean, it's obvious who benefits from the production of such a black PR campaign. And it should be obvious in hindsight to all those people who are trying to support me that those type of messages were deliberately intended to undermine WikiLeaks and in fact undermine my support. So just if this sort of thing happens in the future, think to yourselves, is what is claimed undermining the ability for WikiLeaks to operate, the ability for it to get new information, and the ability of it to financially support itself? And if the answer is yes, then you should be extremely skeptical about what the claim is. Okay. But we are, having seen how concern for us can be manipulated and misled, but also the degree of concern, we now have a game plan for if this kind of thing happens again, and pleasantly confident about the kind of worldwide support we can get if we get a similar type of attack again in the future. And yeah, once again, yeah, you can see that I'm speaking and maybe apparently sane, but don't reduce your concern. I am in a difficult situation. That's a reality. But the difficulty of the situation is well expressed on justiceforassange.com, the UN findings, etc. WikiLeaks itself is also, its staff are in a difficult situation, constantly spied upon, harassed, etc. So yeah, support us now. Don't wait until we are in a difficult situation that might be difficult to get out of. Make sure we're strong now, going into difficult situations as a result of what we publish.